All right, so welcome to leadership. Leadership is important because the way we've always known leadership is not the true leadership. In this part of the world, people use leadership to circumvent other people, to subvert people, to cheat people, and they use it to their selfish benefits alone. That is not leadership. And we need to change the dynamics because in the industry that we operate, quite a lot are missing, especially when it comes to leadership. So what exactly is leadership? Leadership is the ability to inspire and influence a group of people to achieve an objective or a mission, and they are all happy doing it. That's the difference. And so when you go to location, when you all show up to produce a movie or to do something, leadership gives direction, but it's essentially about influencing people. Even when people are not paid, leadership, influences people to achieve an objective, and while achieving it, they are all happy, doing it. So I would want us to pay a bit more attention to our leadership. The leadership is the reason why people follow you, why people want to work with you, why people want to be part of something great that you are doing. You will notice that when people complain about a particular person, it's often about the kind of leadership that they provide. And like in Africa, we are where we are because of our leadership. And the quality of the people, wherever they operate, cannot be better than the quality, of the leadership that they have. I'm reading a book currently. It's written by the former National Security Advisor to President Trump. And I'm learning leadership from another perspective. I've been a student of leadership for a while. When you are not learning leadership, is the reason why people occupy positions and they fail, because they think leadership is about a position. So the problem of an average person in the industry often is about lack of the knowledge, of the skills, of the requirement to do well in the industry. Basically, we outsource that knowledge, we give it to someone else, and ask someone else to provide the leadership that is required for us. And so you can actually lead at whatever level you operate. The camera, you can lead. The cameraman is a leader. The gaffer is a leader. The director is a leader. The producer is a leader. You lead at whatever level that you find yourself. So every human being, goes through that momentum of being sure of what they want and then looking for how to get to that place that they desire. We have that opportunity when we connect with people providing leadership. And so there is no one that doesn't have leadership influence. You have the ability to influence someone to achieve an objective. Our nation provides an environment for us to flourish. And if leadership fails at that level, no industry will do well. I tell people who travel abroad, who relocate outside of the country, what they're looking for essentially, it's an opportunity, it's an environment, It's not that they pick money on the streets in developed countries. They work harder. In fact, because they work in extreme environments, extreme conditions, for them to be able to even, survive or make ends meet. And then the second thing that helps them essentially is the exchange rates. So once the exchange rate is good, small font that you have there, when you convert here, gives you a lot of money. And so we need leadership at every level. And in our industry, especially this media industry, we need leadership. Because the leadership that is provided helps people to flourish, helps people to be their best, helps people to bring out the best that is inside of them. And so we can't get better, we can't do better than the kind of environment that is provided for us. And so as you lay hold on destiny, especially in this industry, as you try to make your own way, as you try to create your own path, I want to remind you of the need for you to provide good leadership, first for yourself, and then for people that will eventually, come in contact with you or work with you in this industry. How to become a leader? Leaders are ordinary people, okay, who discover their potentials, who have worked with certain basic principles about life and it has worked for them, and they can show other people how to achieve it. See, don't be deceived. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science. Leadership, it's about solving your own problems, okay, with the basic learnings, principles, and knowledge that you've acquired, and then showing someone else how to, solve their own problem with the basic, knowledge and skills that you have acquired. It's easy for people to be part of a gang or join bad groups. Why? Because of the kind of leadership that someone provides for them. If I'm in a crisis, I have a problem, and the person who shows up to me is a terrible person, you and I know that I'll be easily influenced, because he's going to advise me, or he's going to counsel me, or he's going to lead me or influence me based on his own experience. And as long as I see a way out of it, I follow, and then people end up in crime. And so that's the basic principle. Becoming a leader requires that you solve your own problems first, learn the basic principles on how you solve your problem, and then use someone, lead someone in the direction for them to be able to solve their own problem as well. What are the essence of leaders, or the essence of leadership? Why do we need leaders? The reason is basically because of service. Leadership serves. It's service. Yeah, you benefit at the end of the day, but it's essentially not first about you. It's about offering value. It's about being a blessing. It's about helping people, okay? When people come together to do production, they're telling a story. And some of the story inspire other people to do something about their story, bring someone out of a crisis, or inspire someone to get better at what they do, or lead someone in the direction in which they need to go for them to get better in their lives. And so leadership is essentially about service. We must be able to offer service. We must be able to serve other people, and that's very important. What are the characteristics of leaders? Number one, they have integrity and character. I cannot overemphasize this. They are not inspired by money. Okay? They are not inspired about their own selfish ambition. It's first about integrity. I don't know how many of you are very familiar with the Einstein story, Winston story, how people abuse other people, because that happens a lot. I'm sure it happens in our environment here today as well. People who want to get into production, they sleep with people, or you pay people. All those funny things, they happen in the industry. Leadership has integrity. Leadership has character, sound character and integrity. That's very, very important. If you cannot be trusted, if you cannot be given an opportunity, you will compromise, and then you're not going to be a good leader. I read something recently on Twitter. A man tweeted and said that his mentor, who is a billionaire, was having a discussion with him. And he said the man said that he found that one of his staffs, just bought a business worth 150 million naira. And he said he knew that the guy was stealing from him. All right, so the man now asked, so why did you sack him? He said he just made 2 billion naira for me. So he said he considered that 150 million, obviously much more, as tight. So he was saying in essence that he allows people to steal because as long as they are making money for him, it's not a problem. But the crux of the matter is the fact that he said, people steal. We don't have the integrity. We don't have integrity. So people on production side, they are adding figures, they are removing figures just for their own selfish ambition. That's why we've not been able to build a great country. And it doesn't happen that way. Trust is an essential currency in any social, environment. And so leaders have character, they have integrity. Leaders are learners. Whoever is the head of a production currently has to learn from someone. He started from somewhere. All right, so as leaders, we need to be able to learn. You can learn from the smallest person in the team. I tell people that, when people are appointing mentors, they often look for people who are very successful. I have a mentor who is not very successful. And I think it's one of the most valuable relationships that I have. Why? Because it teaches you how not to be foolish like him. It teaches you how not to be poor. You can avoid the pitfalls and the mistakes, that he made in his life. And so you can learn from the poor. You can learn from the rich. You can learn from a child. You can learn from stories. You can learn from anyone. Okay, leaders don't know it all. They learn from people. Leadership have vision. Vision is the ability to see into the future. I mentioned it in one of the classes. The reason why I'm your leader is because I see farther than you. I see better than you. I'm able to have good sense of judgment beyond someone else. And so leadership have vision. They have the ability to see into the future. They have the ability to see even into people's future. Because sometimes you can see potentials in a person who doesn't recognize or doesn't see it themselves. And so leadership see potentials in people and see vision, see the future, and take people in the direction, of the fulfillment of that vision. Leadership has good attitude, positive attitude. You can't lead people if you can't accommodate people's tendencies. The truth is, you have all sorts of people in your team, all kinds of people in your team. People who are frustrated about life, people who are difficult, people who are proud, people who are arrogant, people who are terrible, all sorts of people, and they may be good in their industry, and you need to work with them. And so leadership is able, with good positive attitude, you are able to harmonize, galvanize, and bring people together to achieve that great objective that you set out to achieve. The next thing is that leadership value people. If you don't put a premium and a value on people, you can't get the best from them. There is a major saying, a common saying that says that show me your hand first before you get my heart. Okay? In other words, let me see your hand, let me see your love, let me see your commitment to me first before you get the whole of me or you get something from me. And so leadership loves people. A leader must love people. Whether they're difficult, whether they're good, and they're bad, or they're ugly, you as a leader have to be able to value people. No one is less important. We are all important. And I don't care what aspect of the team, what role you play in the team, you are important and you're very critical. A chain is as strong as its weakest link. A chain is as strong as the weakest link. So even the weakest are the one that should enjoy more coverage, more covering, and more protection from us. So leaders value people. Leaders also initiate change. Leaders will initiate change. They see the change and they are able to go into the future, into that change, and then initiate the process that will get everyone to adjust to the change. First of all, people don't like change. They don't like things to change. We're in the midst of a pandemic, and it's changing everything. It's changing the way we live our lives. In fact, I know quite a number of people would have become victims because they refuse to change. And if we don't change, we will fizzle out, okay? We will fade away. The change will sweep us out. All right, so leadership, okay, initiate change and push people in the direction of that change. Leadership also empowers others. Leadership empower others. We have to be able to give power to people. When we delegate, when we give responsibility, when we ask people to work with us, when we ask people to do something with us, we must be able to give them the power that is required for them to do well and to finish well. Leadership empowers people. People use people a lot in this part of the world. They use people for their own selfish ambition, for their own selfish reading, for their own selfish needs. And you leave them disadvantaged, you leave them disgruntled, you leave them used, feeling used. It's not the best when it comes to leadership. And that's one of the reasons why we are where we are as a nation. Okay, when we don't value people or we don't empower people, we make it difficult for people to become whatever God designed for them to be. I believe that everyone here, everyone taking time to be part of this training, will receive the power, okay, the empowerment and the skills and the ability, and then you give it away to other people and let people, be the best that they can be under your tutelage, under your covering, and by virtue of their working with you. I used to tell people that the best reward working with me or working in my team is not the money that we pay. Okay, it's who you become at the end of the process. You must become someone like us, someone bigger than us, someone who wants to do something great, someone who has so much influence and who can add value to other people's life. Very, very important. And then I should also mention that leadership knows and focuses on what is important. The reason why we have taken the initiative to create this is because of leadership, basically. We see into the future. We see the potentials that this industry has. We see the potential of people, and we want to be able to match them together. We want to be able to match them. When you don't create opportunities for people, people will create their own opportunities. And when they create their own opportunities, you don't like the kind of opportunities that they create for themselves. And that's the way it works. When we don't give young people the opportunity, when we don't provide the enabling environment for them to flourish and express their gifting and their grace, they create their own opportunities, and oftentimes it always ends up in crime, in vices, and a deplorable social infrastructure. And so leadership focus on what is important, and that's why we are coming up with this session. What are the benefits of leadership? What are the benefits? When leadership is in place, people fulfill their purpose. People find a reason for their lives. People give their life the best. They can become whatever God designed for them to become. Oftentimes, the fastest man is not the man who wins the Olympics. It's just the man who has the opportunity to show up at Olympics. There are many guys who are better, who are faster than the man who wins the Olympics, but who never have the opportunity of showing up at the Olympics. And only God knows how many people, have lost their opportunities like that. And because we never create the environment for them to flourish or become whatever, God wants them to become. And so leadership, provides that enabling environment. Leadership also increases growth potential. People are able to realize their goals. They are able to realize their dreams. They are able to achieve the greatest vision, the hallmark, the height that they designed for their own lives. Once leadership is in place, people aspire, they grow, and they become the best that they can be. Leadership also deepens commitment. When you work with a fantastic leader, after a while, you realize that the reason why you're working for him or her is maybe not because of the money anymore, because of what he or she represents. And you know what happens? People deepen their commitment to that vision. They want to be part of something powerful, something bigger than them, something that is outlandish, something that is grand, a powerful legacy. And so when leadership is fantastic, when leadership is good, it deepens, it gets other people's commitment. And it's a powerful story that I always use. And it's a story that you probably are very familiar with. Jesus assembled a group of guys and called them disciples. Okay? And it was, first of all, come and work with me, let's fish for men, let's help people. And then after a while, because of the level of leadership he provided, remember he died, they were willing to die as well. That is leadership. It deepens people's commitment, and people want to give their best and even die for it, if possible. The next one I'd like to talk about is that leadership enhances the future. It enhances the future. The future is bleak when there are no leaders. The people cast off restraints when there is no leadership vision. We often think that Igbo is my problem, Hausa is my problem, Yoruba is the problem. It's because there is no future, no great vision that is set for us. So we now think other people are our problem. The best gift America has, the greatest opportunity America has, is because of their diversity. There is a reason why they were doing American lottery. There is a reason. It's because of their diversity. And that diversity is what brings out the best in them. When you create an environment for everyone to aspire to become what they designed to be, what they want to be in their lives, you're going to enhance the future. The future is going to be powerful, the future is going to be good, and the future is going to be beautiful. So leadership enhances the future. Leadership is important, especially because of the industry that we operate in. When there is fantastic leadership, we'll create an environment where we can compete on the global scale. We can be the best. We can rake in forex for our country. We can create an environment where people aspire, to become the best they can. Some 3 years ago, I used to know a young boy who got an admission to the Film Academy in New York. And it's been several years, I've not seen him in a while. I know one day we're going to see again, but the reality is they have created an environment where people can aspire to become whatever they want to become. And they don't have to conform with, to the current formal educational system that we have in our nation. There are people who are going to be gifted directors, gifted producers, script writers, creative people, graphics designers, photographers, powerful people in the industry who may never, have that opportunity if we don't create that environment for them today. And so this is one of the reasons why leadership is key. When leadership is on top of the game, they are able to create an industry where everything moves, where people can become the best that they want to become. And then we can create a whole new, economic value chain for people in that industry. Finally, how do we recruit leaders? How do we recruit leaders? How do you bring people on board? Because the truth is, in a team, everyone who works on that team is a potential leader. Yeah, at some point, people, move up the strata gradually, okay? Some people, they're very skillful. Some people, they are strong when it comes to character. And they're on different platforms, okay? But the reality is, at some point, you will see that people will differentiate themselves based on their skills and their abilities and their, ability to recognize and take advantage of opportunities. So how do we recruit leaders? Number one, you look inward. Assembling a team requires spiritual sensitivity. There are projects you're going to do, there are projects you're going to cover, there are recordings that you're going to do, there are productions that you're going to do that may require you to go deep on the inside. Okay? And so once you have mastered the act of going inward, it's easier because at that point you attract people who represent, what you have on the inside. And so I can talk about prayer in that area because you need to be prayerful. And that's when you assemble the kind of people that work with you. There are projects you may not need to go into. They look fantastic, they look beautiful, but they may be very destructive. They may lead to your downfall. And so that capacity to look inward and prayerfully is very key. Number two, you look for potentials in people, not finished products. Potentials. Because the truth is, gold is not easily picked on the road. You don't pick gold on the street. You have to dig deeper, Okay, you have to look inward, you have to do a lot of work, and when you eventually find it, you have to wash. There's a process that is required. I strongly believe that an average person is a potential, massive potential. All right, so you don't look for the finished product, because every one of us is work in progress. Okay, so when it comes to recruiting leaders, you look for potentials in people. A person may be gifted and powerful in script writing or storytelling. You may not know, all right, until you expose the person, to one or two small assignments in that area, and then you begin to see, the potential evolve. I am mentored by one of the powerful, mentors in this country, and I remember that he gave me a platform once, to speak at an event that he wasn't attending. He was not able to attend, and then he gave me the opportunity to speak at that event, and that was it for me. He saw the potentials, and then after a while, he started exposing me gradually to that possibility until I was able to master it, and I'm able to represent myself and then build a brand as well. And so the reality is, everyone has potentials. Everyone, you have potential, and that potential is what we want to find. Is what we want to harness. Is what we want to nurture. Is what we want to give our best shot, so that we can become the best that God designed you to be. The next one is that you attract who you are. Okay? Oftentimes, if you are a very rough person, you attract people who are rough. If you lack integrity, you probably attract people who will also want to take from you. All right? And so it's important that you know that everything comes from within. Okay? You attract the kind of people who are almost like you. And if you are straight, you are fantastic, you are good, you have the opportunity to help refine people. That is the opportunity it presents. Everyone, like I mentioned, is work in progress. So at some point in time, you will have to now, input your own values, invest your own values, transfer your own values, implant your own values in people, so that as a result of their working with you, they become somebody else, better version of themselves. And then finally, check for basic qualities. If a person must operate in the creative industry, there are certain requirements that they must have. I mentioned them in the entrepreneurship class. You need the vision, the ability to be flexible, quite a number of them. Those qualities are essential for leadership, because you can now not begin to input them when they are not there in the first place. So you check for basic qualities. When people have those basic qualities, then they're qualified to work with you in your team. And then finally, they must be inspired. A self-motivated person. A person who is hungry to become something. Not the person who is just doing it for survival. You need someone who is self-motivated. A person, there's a story of a young man that I always tell. His father was a first-class student in University of Lagos. The man also did first class in his masters, according to him. And this is a man who never amounted to anything eventually in life. His first son never went to school. He never sponsored him to school. So this young man, anytime, the last time I was speaking to him, he was telling me about how he, because of his disadvantage, growing up, he had to do a lot of things for himself. He was very hungry. He wanted to become something for himself. And one of the things that he told me, that always moved me, that inspires me greatly, he said, every 3 months, he acquires an international certification in computer programming. Every 3 months. That is a guy who is self-motivated, who is inspired, who is driven, who is on fire, who wants to do something for himself. Those are the basic qualities that you need to look out for when you are recruiting people in leadership. Finally, leadership is important. You need leadership, or else you won't go find the industry. And your ability to look within, develop yourself, and give it your best shot, and be able to use it to solve your own problem and then help other people, to solve their own problem and move them in the direction of the vision that you serve. It's what leadership is all about. I'll see you in class.